Hello and welcome into the SorareData Game Week 411 preview. I'm Andrew Lairdinho. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Joined once again by Quinny, who I think he's going to be here all the time. Just to say that out. Quinny hasn't fully, I don't think we've fully decided, but Quinny's just going to be here all the time because I had too much fun on Monday. I expect to have plenty of fun today. Quinny, it's Wednesday, so we still have a little bit of the midweek to go. Have you already, how far have you looked into this weekend already?
Not at all. I had a wee bit. Also, I had the rewards and everything last night, which was brilliant. And then after I stopped flicking around the 3D cards for about 3 hours, I was then like, oh, I can actually maybe use them this weekend. So I've had a wee thumb through and a wee kind of glance over, but I've not. Today's normal. It's normally that time of the week where it's like, right, who's actually playing, who do I expect to rotate, who's actually the fixtures I want to stay away from or try and lean into, kind of thing. So yeah, I'm expecting it to be a good one as well. Is a little, because this part of the week it's definitely about getting your ducks in a row and thinking ahead, because when it gets to deadline and when it gets to much, you want to be reacting quite succinctly to news. Like you want to be able to know, like, oh, okay, well, that kills that team, and then the domino effect is this our team's going to be stronger now as a result or whatever. So yeah, it's just making sure at this point, I think, you just kind of get your ducks in a row, see where all the trouble is and try and avoid it.
Yeah, totally. So last week, Chani and I went through the 409 preview on Thursday. I think we're going to do this Wednesday because we need to have a little more time. It didn't feel like there was enough time for people to watch the video, really understand the game week, and then respond. And the last thing you want to do is be Friday morning, mid-afternoon, and you're like, oh no, I need a player, because you're never getting that player for a price that you want to actually pay. So we're going to try to do Wednesdays. It'll be a little funky, I think. Sometimes next week might be funky because we obviously are doing this like before there are any Wednesday matches being played. Obviously, that means before Thursday. But we just feel like it's the best amount of time before the game week. So anyway, SR Monkey, first in, way to be. Genesis is here and also added that they only tune in when PSG have a AAA fixture. We'll get to that because I don't know. We'll see. Mark Lele in. What's up? Alex Wilson. What do we? Here's the game where FC Copenhagen stacks will triumph, right? I don't have any. Shout out to the Sorare Scandinavia Discord. What are we? Not even 3 minutes in. I got that in. But I don't have any. I have one Copenhagen card. Quinny, you probably used to have this guy, Jordan Larson. He is a disaster. And man, I want no part of that.
I still have. I thought you had mailing. I thought with all this Ren chat, you got a mailing.
I'm trying.
Oh, sorry.
I'm trying to get him. SR Mungie said, I've had Quinny on my TV for about 3 hours today so far.
Sorry.
Some could argue it's just not even enough, Quinny. So there's that. Alex Wilson, James Ward-Prowse is the second best pick scorer in All-Star, and it pleases me greatly. We'll get there. Don't worry. We'll get there. Gilbert, what's up? Parrot Press and Ian is in. Pablo said, this is early for me. Let me get some coffee. I'm 2 down already and probably heading for
bad acids for me.
Yeah, you go straight. Yeah, you go straight rocket fuel there. Let's jump right in to the fixtures, because as Genesis said, that PSG have this AAA fixture, but you got to scroll a little bit to find them here. They are away. Is that Claremont? That is about as AAA as you can get. We'll see where those guys fall in the pick scores, but we're going to see PSV, Feyenoord, and Salzburg, and AZ, and Man City near the top every single game week, probably. We do have a little bit of that weird situation with Ajax and Feyenoord. Who's playing this midweek? Feyenoord, right?
Ajax and Feyenoord, yeah.
Yeah.
It kicked off. I think it's happening right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they have this like half game that they're playing behind closed doors. Not that seems like enough for Feyenoord to like rotate this weekend against Go Ahead Eagles, but something you got to consider, I guess, just to think about. Let's not give away all the answers right away, though, Quinny. We'll start in everybody's favorite division, Second Division Europe. I was talking with SR Monkey actually earlier today because Sorare announced that they have new season cards for a bunch of Italian and French clubs. So in this case, Serie B and Ligue 2. And if you notice here, Auxerre, big favorites. I happen to have a pretty nice Auxerre lineup going this midweek, but they were not on the list. And so maybe I'm heading for some, 15, 20% cards in the not too distant future while everybody else is slumping away on their, 6%. But nothing really seems to jump out at me. And I feel like I say this every game week about second division Europe. And then SR Monkey is there after the game week, like, oh, here's my second division lineup that scored 980 points. And I was like, okay, I'm wrong, but I don't know. Anything jump?
This definitely feels like a region that you can't really do much surface level kind of analysis on, because they're all so busy and all the squads are quite intricate in form and all that kind of stuff. Like the English Championship is a really good poster child of that, because of how many games they play, the competition strength all the way through the division as well. And I think all second divisions are just lesser levels of that, from what I've seen anyway on Sorare in terms of scoring potential and that kind of thing. So like last week when we did this the other day, like the first thing I was looking for was any obvious top v bottoms that strike out, because I think they're the ones that can be the real lopsided ones all of a sudden. Sure. Because if you're heading towards tier 3 of real world football and you're heading towards tier 1 of real world football, then that gap is like pretty huge, So yeah, I think they're the ones to look out for.
The thing that always jumps out at me with second division when everybody's playing is just how many teams there are. Like it doesn't feel like there should be this many, but like I said, I was just scrolling through here and it just felt like there was just an endless scroll. It feels very Challenger-like in that respect. And yet we only really have a couple leagues here. But Sorare is reminding me that they did say they're still working on some French teams in terms of getting the new licenses, which hopefully they're not talking to Auxerre so that I can keep my advantage here. But yeah, so Auxerre is like a good example of this. I can't remember. I don't think we still have them here, but they were I think they were the biggest favorite this midweek, but they also were only, I think it was even less than 60% chance to win. And they won 4-0 and just absolutely dominated. 21st minute own goal is what got them started. And it just kind of snowballed from there. And I feel like that's what you can get with these second divisions, that sometimes a game will just get way out of hand. And that's when you end up seeing these huge scores. Trying to look at now, like they had, it's so frustrating as I see a 99-point defender that I did not play and played the 67 instead. But the things can go off. Like SR Monkey has taught me the lesson that you can't just like disregard these second division Europe teams. And there are some that will just go off. It's just, you just don't know which ones they are. And so I still like them as like collection pieces because the prices tend to be lower, so you can get some higher XP or higher bonuses. And so, yeah, Jonathan saying 2 Bundesliga is an absolute goal fest. Yeah, like some of the games there they go nuts.
Yeah, they go bananas. I was looking at the Auxerre game there. Now they're actually playing 4th, which on the face of it shouldn't be that great a game. But the team that are 4th, if you look at I just had a look at their L5. And the results they've been getting against bottom of the league teams. So maybe that's one that if you weren't looking at the pick score and seeing how strong Auxerre were, if you were just seeing it's 3rd v 4th, a lot of people might just discount that in their mind, right enough. But I say if you look at the teams Rodez have been getting their points from in the last 5, it's teams very firmly in the bottom half of the league. So that's maybe a wee bit, because it's so early in the season, there's only 8 games played. That kind of thing can just put somebody into 4th all of a sudden,
Not the only thing I know about Rodez here, but they should have been relegated last year from Ligue 2. They played Bordeaux in the last match of the season. Bordeaux needed to win in order to gain promotion. And there was either a fan attack or a riot. There was something happened where the match was suspended and they never played the rest of the match. And Rodez, if they lost, were going to go down, but they drew. And so they stayed in Ligue 2. Bordeaux also was unable to win promotion, and so they stayed. I had a player from Bordeaux praying they would not get promoted because I didn't want them to then just get smashed in Ligue 1. And those are the weird things that you end up picking up when you play Sorare.
Like this guy, Bradley Danger. Who the hell is he? Bradley Danger? What a name. Where's he from? Is he Australian? He's French.
French, yeah. Danger.
Oh, Danger. Bradley Danger.
Yeah.
Look at his face. He's so happy.
Yeah. Nothing dangerous about this guy. Okay, Raul was saying it was a fan attack, but yeah, we're up 1-0, so they actually won, and that's what kept them up. So,
Love it.
Again, those are the things I know about League 2. Let's jump over to Asia. What do we got here? Chinese Super League is the top one. Beijing Guoan, who I don't have. It's actually a lot of China at the top.
Yeah.
But nothing too crazy. I know that there are some teams that are off this game week. I only happen to know that because of, there's Asian Champions League as well. It looks like we have an Al Nassr and Al Ittihad. I forget who's on those teams. Can you keep track of those?
It's hard. Etihad, I think, is Benzema and Kante. Yeah, because that's a Jota team. That's how I can remember that one. And then
Nassr's obviously Ronaldo.
Nassr's Ronaldo, yeah.
And Mane and Otavio. All right. Like, we continue to not get odds for those games, so that's a little more of a do your own research. But they're playing against.
I'm going to guess Iraq.
Ooh, all right.
FK.
Survey says
something with a stan. I can tell now. I've got it wrong.
Tajikistan.
Knew it was a stan. That's a stan place. I can tell. That's a stan.
I think we just came up with a new game. And then this is Al Ittihad's opponent, Fulad Mobarash Sepahan SC.
I'm sure that's Iran.
You're sure of it?
On that. I'm sure that's Iran. Yeah.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Yeah, good guess. Gutted I got I wouldn't have got Tajikistan, but I should have guessed it was a stan. But close.
I believe you're actually gutted too. That's my favorite part of it. Anyway, we have Yokohama. Looks like they're away. That's the most frustrating thing about all of the ACL stuff is that, like, we know that they have some sort of foreign player rule. Sometimes we know what the squads are before they start playing, and yet I feel like there's constantly, like, the knowledge gap for ACL is so big that if you are in a spot where you can really predict these lineups well, you can really succeed, or just avoid, players that you think we're going to start and then not, and then don't. Like,
yeah. I think these games are full of wild card type players, if you know what I mean. Like, guys, you can just pop off for you in 270 or something like that. Maybe in Asia, if you're just going to by accident finish 7th or something. Maybe this is the sort of team you would get a guy like that into, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. It does look like Ulsan have was that right? Ulsan have a double game week, and that's actually 2 tough fixtures too.
Oh yeah,
Frontale and Pohang. I want no part of that. But looks like Osaka is the biggest favorite, but not overly so. And so Sanfrecce's got a decent one. Is it Nagoya?
Yeah. Sagan Tosu stand out with 18% of a clean, 18% for 3 goals scored in that top order. So the closest one at 20%, Sagan Tosu, but not much going on in Asia. I think the weekends, but it's always those, like, as I say, there's players that will pop, like Ki Sung Young's 100, and previously we've seen Cecinias and Schultz's and Kikuchi's and these types of guys. You're looking for the studs in some of these teams to prop a team up rather than, and I know you can stack them, I know people do, if you know what I mean, but I think overall for the game week impact, it's like, as one of these OP guys get a game where they should be running the show, and I don't really see any of that.
Yeah, the only one I know with Sanfrecce here is that Sho Sasaki was out last week with a back injury. I don't know if he's back or not, but it's Wednesday, so we might not even know, but just something for those who may have him. Shout out to our good friend Tuggy here. All right, let's move to America. Isco rivalry week in Argentina, which is fun for the neutral, I think, because you get to see big games, big teams against each other. Not so fun for someone who may have a River Plate stack when they're playing the Super Copa. Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Against
Super.
Boca? Yeah. So I get the excitement to watch, but man, the SO5 lineups will not be overly happy this week.
Lots of fouls, lots of bookings, not a lot of goals.
You just take the over on the yellow card. Whatever the yellow card number is, you just take the over.
Totally, yeah.
But we do have some decent MLS ones. Messi at home against New York City FC. There was some, it sounds like he continues to be questionable. And I don't know if we'll ever get like enough news beforehand, which sounds weird. Super Classico. Thank you, Pablo, about River Boca. So Miami, I think Jordi Alba's already been ruled out, and we have Messi questionable. They do play the U.S. Open Cup final, which is like the U.S. Domestic Cup is it tonight or Thursday?
It's like, I don't know time zone where it is, but I think it's like for my time zone, it's tomorrow.
Okay, it is tonight for me. It's in basically 12 hours. So we'll know if Messi plays that one, and we'll know if he gets through it unscathed ahead of this weekend's match. New York City FC, you dress for the occasion, Quinny. Any chance they slow down Messi if he plays?
I don't think. I think it's probably a good game for NYC, to be honest with you. Overall, like, I just wanted to check the table, so I see where Miami are for playoffs. If they're home and host or not, no, they're dead, man. Well, they really need the points.
They got a very uphill battle at this point.
Yeah, so do NYC. So that's a 6-pointer. I think like NYC are closer to going into that game full strength than Miami. And as we know, Miami kind of are the DP show, so if there's no Alba, Messi's not going to get 90 minutes, or maybe he doesn't start or whatever, I don't know, then, it could be actually a pretty decent one for the neutral. I am probably not going to be playing my guys in any decent teams, but it's definitely not a game like looking at it. Like, I don't think the goalkeeper is going to get 13-80 or whatever the indicator thinks it's going to do. I think there'll be a couple of goals in this one, and not necessarily a home win.
Yeah, no, I think that's reasonable. New York, it's getting a little cold here outside of New York City, and so they get the nice trip to Miami as the weather gets a little cooler, which is always nice for them. But Orlando home against Montreal and LAFC home against Real Salt Lake. That should be two, like, how we get those random weeks where all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's the LAFC stack that just smashed.
Yep.
It might be this weekend, given the matchup and the fact that there are really not that many, like, looking at this list, there are just not that many fully licensed teams. So there are just not that many cards from a lot of these teams. Obviously we have Miami and Orlando, but I mean, we've seen LAFC just win a ton of contests for people this season. And this is one of those matchups that looks like it should be it.
Yeah, because even though Salt Lake are fifth in the table at the moment, they've conceded 45 goals in 30 games, which is a clean 1.5. So not one of the best defences in the league by any stretch. And if only being at home, second in the league in there, they've scored 44 in 30, which is basically the mirror image, So it does feel like a goal fest for LA in that sense. But RSL, not to be completely written off, I think, in fifth, but the stats definitely indicate they're going to concede goals here.
They also keep messing around with Jefferson Savarino playing and not playing. And he was out last weekend. I feel like it's one of those that nobody ever knows if he's going to play. And he's out and everybody gets angry. And then they're like, but it's Savarino. You always know he could sit. And that's always the toughest one. New York Red Bulls against Chicago. I would feel nice about that if it wasn't the Red Bulls, but they're just dreadful. And then hopefully it's a Julian Quinones hat trick weekend against Pumas. Tigres, a decent one against Mazatlan, who I believe are last in Liga MX right now. If they're not last, they deserve to be last. No, they're not. They're sneaking in there.
They won their last game. That might help them get off the foot there. But yeah, they're pretty terrible so far. 16 goals conceded in 10 games is pretty horrid.
Yep. Carlos Heel against Trippin' B's Charlotte FC. I've been told by Trip and B that this is a terrible matchup for Carlos Heel. I'm sure that's a completely unbiased opinion. That game is at New England, so there's that. And then we have a little Houston, Dallas, Texas derby in that matchup. And then how about this, Quinny? We've got a Jan Grey Goose revenge game. Minnesota United at home against San Jose Earthquakes.
That'll be interesting. Yeah, that'll be something. I was just a way to look at the Revs, because I was just thinking, like, the Revs are not. I think the Revs have fallen. You know, I don't think they're. Let me. Like they've not got. They've done out with Arena. You know,
it's Carlos Heel and a bunch of guys.
Yeah, I think they're done, man. You know, like. So I don't know. It could be a good one for Charlotte. A wee surprise one. But the Grey Goose revenge. It's funny when you get those games. I was thinking it earlier with Salt Lake with Arango. I was thinking, I wonder if Arango will play in that game. Because the MLS loves those things when they happen. You know, it's almost like they're fated. So, you know, I can see it happening. No problem.
Columbus at home against Philadelphia should be a very good match. Not making anybody's SO5 dreams all that exciting, but again, one of those like neutral, should be a good game. But you know, I don't think you're rolling out Cucho with like the expectation he gets 100, even though it seems like he gets it all the time. Vancouver home against DC might be the worst game I've ever seen on the schedule, but is what it is. And then, yeah,
get a game for gold.
It's a gold home game, so surely he gets uncapped 150 in the greatest.
He's got home. He slept in his own bed. He's put on his own slippers in the morning. He'll be feeling good, man. He'll be feeling good.
When you bought Ryan Gauld, you wanted him for home against DC United, so you'll get it this weekend. There you go. We'll see where he is on the pick score, although I have a feeling I know exactly where he is, and it's not near the bottom, trust me.
Good.
But yeah, like I feel like we just have a lot of even matchups here in America, and other than LAFC, it does feel like most of these. Well, I was going to say most of these cards maybe, or most of these will be in the America competitions. People not using a lot of guys in All-Star, although I say that, and now we don't have the month-long competition for All-Star, so maybe everybody goes back to dispersing their cards throughout instead of focusing on. Sorry, I was getting thrown off by this germ comment that rumor has it that Gauld has Quinny head slippers.
That'd be funny.
And Matchflow said Reynoso will smash, which is in that match against San Jose, but he did sit last week, so we'll have to see how his hamstring is. Because that one wasn't fun. That was not a fun 0 to eat last week.
Yeah.
Anyway,
again, it's quite similar to Asia in the sense for, again, when I'm looking at those fixtures, I'm thinking if I own any of those pieces, it's just like, is there any big pen? Like we're talking about LA scoring a couple of goals. Have we got a penalty taker? Have we got an assist monster? Have you got an AA demon? And it's just maybe trying to get the power pieces out of them. I don't see any, OP. Like when we go onto this page, you see stacks, you see teams, you see defense plays, you see, lots of problems and lots of divisions when you get to Challenger Europe and Champion Euro.
Yep.
Whereas with Asia and America, it's, let's say, it feels like you're cherry picking guys out of there rather than laying a full squad out for the more competitive leagues.
Matt saying Reynoso will test out his hamstring tomorrow. My guess is we'll find out on Saturday how that test went. So we'll see. And Raul says it's time to buy cheap MLS cards, which I know a few people who have been doing that. It seems like that time of year. Moving to Challenger, we've got, like I said, I feel like every week we're going to see PSV, Feyenoord near the top unless they play each other. Same thing with Salzburg, AZ. But we do have a number of these teams playing this midweek. They will play this weekend, and they will play next midweek with the return of Champions League, Europa, and Conference League. I think the hardest thing right now is just going to be figuring out the rotation issues. PSV, I selfishly was part of the conversation because they have basically 4 guys for 3 spots with Bakayoko, Lang, Lozano, and I feel like I'm forgetting who's the last guy I'm remembering or forgetting. Excuse me.
Sabiri or something.
Sabiri, yeah.
No.
Thank you. So we saw them kind of rotate a little bit last week, or guys got rested a little bit. Like Lozano went 73, Lang 74. I think the thought is that Bakayoko will play this midweek. They play today, so we won't know yet. But like if he starts this weekend, or if he starts today, does that mean Lozano's back at the weekend? Does Lang get rested at the week? Like there's a lot. Oh yeah, Yorby's here. Shout out to our good friend Harry Trades, who's a big Yorby guy. Luke de Jong just continues to start, so Ricardo Pepe's not getting off the bench. But Matchlow said Bosch should just play Lang or Chucky in a free roll behind the front three, which, yeah.
Domestically, he could get away with that for sure, man. No problem. I think Bakayoko, if you remember his comments for staying at PSV in the summer, he was linked to Chelsea and a bunch of kind of transfers like that. And he said, I want to stay at PSV, I want to do some stuff, and I want to play Champions League football. So I wouldn't be surprised if, like, I know Lozano's the big name in town, so is Lang, but both of those guys are never 100% fit over the last little while. So I think I've not been following the PSV rotation, but I think it will prove to be that you see Bakayoko rotated in such a way that gets him to play Champions League. So
that's fair.
I think I'll watch out for that.
They won't bench Bakayoko after rejecting 40 million, but he was literally benched this past game week. So I don't think they're going to like permanently bench him, but they have too many guys for the spots. Lozano had like a long part of his career was at PSV, so it's not like he's just some random guy that they picked up. So I think at some point, I wouldn't be surprised if one of Bakayoko or Lang moved in January. And so, do you play them as much as possible until then, or do you just make sure they don't get hurt? I don't know. There's all of that stuff, but looks like a competitive week in Challenger. Like even moving down, Twente at home against Heerenveen, Fenerbahce against, who is that? Rizespor, Celtic against, away to Motherwell. What do you think?
Yeah, that'll be a good. Yeah, it should be good for us. Probably be a win, but no Joe Hart. He get red carded in the last game, so it'll be Bain that's in goals. And Motherwell get beat off Rangers 1-0 in the last game, but Rangers fans were like booing the team and the manager and all that at the end of the game. It wasn't like a good win for them. So Motherwell definitely, and they've been in good form since their manager came in. They are only second to Celtic in points gathered since that manager's came in, if you get me.
Yep.
So and that might be a shade outdated now, but I heard that within the last couple of weeks, certainly, so it might be a wee bit outdated, that stat, but it's not far off. So definitely not a walkover game or anything like that, but it could be like 1 or 2-0, and depends on how the scores fall. Like, I can see why it's in that top 10-ish kind of position. But it's not going to be like Dundee or one of these other games where you think, it's going to be a goal fest, So yeah,
I was going to make this joke, but I'm going to let Matt make it instead. Is no Joe Hart really a loss?
He's picked up his L5, like his Sorare scores reflect. He's actually really picked up over the last little bit under Brendan Rodgers. We had a game against St Johnstone where he made a couple of key saves, and a 0-0 draw that he was pretty much the only guy that came out that game with pass marks. And then since then, like he's contributed to every result in some way, So Joe Hart's on the up for me, right. So it'll be a bit of a miss. Scott Bain will be in, so if anyone's got a Bain, it's been a cheap handcuff for a very long time, but he's got a 4-year contract at Celtic, so he's going to be the handcuff for the next 4 years, So it'll be it's a weekend to roll out your Scott Bain.
Can you tell when the red card happened?
Yeah, precisely.
Looks like it's come down a little bit, but
yeah.
Boy,
it's a proper race off.
That is a proper one. Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Sporting away. We have Bruges at home against St. Truiden. That should be fine. Genk against Westerlo. I think are they the ones who played this week? Bruges Genk?
Yeah, I think it was Genk.
Yeah.
I remember talking about Van de Voort.
Yeah. Ajax.
Very low rated against Walwick, by the way. Like, normally that would be top of the table. Ajax playing Walwick. Not today.
Yeah.
Different times.
Exactly, yeah. Although, well, they'll play this midweek. If they come out and smash this midweek, who do they have? I forget who.
We're talking
Yeah,
about
totally
Huawei.
terrible.
All right.
Oh, Volendam. Oh
Oh,
no,
Volendam.
they were supposed to. That's right. I forgot. We talked about this
Yeah.
already. Yes.
Tried to save you.
Keep your flares at home, people, please. For my own scheduling headaches, I would just prefer to matches to be completed when they're supposed to be. Anyway, Zenit 58% to win. I would love Gabriel Florentin to come back for that one. Well, I guess not a way to Zenit. I'm probably not playing that one, but we'll see. But I think here it is, the big one in Denmark, Copenhagen, Midtjylland.
Yeah, it's going to be a smasher.
Should be a good match. I unfortunately can't play any of my guys that I want to play. Just it looks ugly. And then Anderlecht, away to Eupen. Do you have any of these Circle Bruges guys?
I won Hugo Seque like 2 weeks ago, and I'd kind of seen him around. I think he's had cards for a while. I think people have rated him for a wee bit, but I won him, and I thought, cool, I've got him in 3D, and he's just got Belgium caps. So I was looking at his L40 or whatever, and he's got Belgium caps. So I was like, yeah, he seems pretty good. And Cercle Bruges, like I think for as long as I've been on Sorare, every year they've got one or two guys that are like a prospect on loan or a guy they sell in the summer to like another Bruges or something.
Yeah.
So they're always a good team to have a look at. Who did they bring in the summer, or who's taking the penalties now, or whatever. So I don't really know when you say the Cercle Bruges guys. I don't really know exclusively who you're talking about, but I can imagine there's a gang of them.
So full disclosure, I don't know either, but there are a number of times where they will come up in a stream and everyone tells me that they're like a decent U23 stack because a few of these guys are U23s. I don't think the goalie is. Yeah, he's not. But I only say that because while they are away, Kortrijk are terrible, and so it could be one of those weeks where they actually end up popping off. Alex Wilson says Denke is also good, who I noticed had 2 goals in the last game.
Oh, yeah.
He is also U23.
There you go. Have a bit of that. Because last year they had Ayase Ueda up front. And if it wasn't the year before that, it was the year before that. But they had Aika Ugbo, and I had his card, and he was pretty good for them, took penalties and stuff.
I also had one of those cards. I remember when I got that card, I was like, I have the next great U23 forward. And I think he played like 3 games after I got him.
Well, we thought he was like a wee Joe David in the making, didn't we? We thought this will be another wee penalty box, goal scoring guy, and maybe something will happen. But I think he's in the championship now. He's in the championship, I'm sure. Cardiff.
Wow, Cardiff, yeah. I know he went to Troyes. Yeah, so like I saw these all the way back here in game week like 3, and I was like, oh, I love this guy. He should be great, and was not great. But obviously the Dino Hotic was so good while he was at Cercle Bruges, and now I believe he's in Poland. Yeah, come back, European football.
Yeah, man. Poland. I think that'll be a division we'll never get on Sorare, no matter. Yeah. Poland? Yeah, I think Poland will be a step too far.
Yeah, I can't see it happening. There are probably 50 leagues that we'll see before Poland. So, yeah. Scrolling down, I mean, these are all still decent favorites, but I think it's similar to Challenger. We have Benfica, Port. We have a lot of these huge games this week.
Yeah. Benfica Porto was a good one.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's
good as well because like whenever we're looking at these game weeks, like Benfica are normally at home to somebody crap, and Porto are normally away to somebody crap, and so is Sporting, and it's that kind of trifecta. I still think it'll probably be a good week for Benfica, to be honest with you. I don't think Porto are on the same tier as them at the moment. If you look at the squad, anyway, I know Porto have done well in Champions League in the first game there against Shakhtar, but I think it still could be a good week for Benfica, but it's probably not going to be quite as good, and obviously it just kills Porto. You think so? It's good to see those derbies come up.
Yeah, Porto without Otavio just doesn't look right to me.
Yeah, it's definitely missing a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, simple as that. Andy Black said, are we going to talk about Everton stacks? Which I guess that means we should move over to Champion Europe, where Everton actually play. So
nice.
Thanks, Andy.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Let's see. Everton home against
Luton Town.
That's why.
Why is Black? Is Black got an Everton stack?
I didn't think so. I think he's just a Luton hater. That's all.
Oh, is he?
Alex Wilson, Pickford will bang this week. Sure of it. That's so dangerous to say. the sure thing on Jordan Pickford just never seems like it should end up working out. Although somebody with a Dwight McNeil card, let's hope. Now, Andy said he loves a shit stack, so that's why he's such disrespect to Jordan Pickford, James Tarkowski. They even have a midfielder you'd want to buy.
Yeah. Doucouré and Onana are decent.
Yeah, but like they're okay.
Yeah, they're only okay.
Yeah,
I didn't buy them myself, but and I was looking at Premier League Limiteds in the last week, and Doucouré I was close with, and then when I seen he scored and I didn't buy him, I was pretty gutted. But yeah, well, I suppose Everton against Luton, that's probably a good one for them. T-Rex arms couldn't catch a cold. Pickford.
Not that I guess if you are playing like Premier League, the Premier League only contests, Man City, the biggest favorite away to Wolves. I feel like playing away to Wolves is always a little tricky. Not to say that they're going to lose, but Newcastle at home against Burnley sure seems like a nicer one to me.
I agree. I think Newcastle at home at Burnley, PSG away to Clermont, and probably Inter Milan are the clear ones. Probably Arsenal you can throw into that as well. I'd say they're the ones that clearly stand out as like great fixtures, good teams, like should smash out. I agree with the Man City thing, right? But like Wolves, like quite famously, with people that talk to me that watch Wolves, and I've seen them a few times this year, they turn up in the big games, and any other game, basically they look like relegation fodder.
Yeah.
So it could be a game quite easily, but it's not a clean sheet for City, which might then take off the ceiling of the stack, as it were, as a whole thing. But again, I still can't see City not winning the game and maybe scoring 3 or 4 goals over the 90 minutes.
I want to bring up PSG because I think the person who knows PSG better than anyone I know, at least, says there's a high chance Mbappe is rested this weekend because they have Newcastle in the Champions League coming up next midweek. Other rotation also possible, which surely doesn't make anybody happy.
I've seen Mukiele coming back to play. I'm buzzing about that. If Mukiele comes back in, they'll be made.
Sure.
Mukiele and Carlos Soler is the PSG stack that I'm waiting for. That's I'm waiting for it to come in. As soon as they two get locked in that team, I'll be flying. So I love that Mukiele.
Have you owned both of those cards for more than 2 years?
Mukiele, I've bought and sold over the last 2 years, but Soler I've had the entire time. Yeah. Mukiele's just dead frustrating with injuries and obviously moving to PSG and stuff. It's been a pain in the ass.
Carlos Soler, I think if you asked me before this, like what are the 5 like most Quinny cards, Carlos Soler I think would be on my list.
I love that. That's quality. I checked out as well when Genesis brought it up, but in the last 4 games, Clermont versus PSG have aggregated 18 scored, which is pretty tasty. Yeah, so and fair enough, that's been Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe as a front three, but I think it tells you Clermont foot, there's not much for them to grasp onto coming into this game in terms of the head-to-head. So it should be 3 or 4 goals for PSG quite feasibly in this one.
The last one was in June. Looks like the last match of the season. Yeah, they no longer have Messi, Ekitike, Ramos, Verratti. Yeah, it's a bit different team.
I say that as you put a 3-2 win for Clermont on screen as well, of course. But
well, you just talked about goals scored. They still scored twice, and that's a weird match.
Barcelona surely relegation. They got some special sauce on their side there. But Barca Sevilla, that's a good one, man. I think that's one that I looked at for some of my cards, and I thought, that's one that you might get put off on the badge, seeing Sevilla there. But Sevilla are minging now, and Barca are, like we mentioned, I think the other day, but Barca are kicking on now. 3 rotations a match, keeping everyone fresh. I'm
only shaking my head because surely this is the match that João Felix gets rested. I think he's started every single one, and yet he only played 64 in this match at Mallorca yesterday. And now I'm like, maybe. I mean, surely Lewandowski comes back in. So one of Ferran Torres, João Felix, or Rafinha gets rested, or at least doesn't start. I'll put it that way. But
I think it's probably those 3 subs that will go in. I think Lamel, Lewandowski, and Koundé will probably go in for Martinez, Rafinha, Torres. That's probably Felix will probably still get 60 every week. Like you say, he's been chilling out, man. He's got miles to go in his legs, So I think we're getting every ounce out of Felix.
You did say that, yes.
So
Sevilla coming off a 5-1 win yesterday, but in fairness, Almeria are dreadful.
That team just Suso, Lamela, and Luca Bacchio. That's just not. I don't know, man. Like Suso, I don't mind Suso, right? But he's just been a problem for so long, like football wise. I mean, waiting for him to happen. Lamela's a bit of a meme, and look at Bacchio. Like, I think if you look at his aggregated transfer fees, it's something bonkers, and he's done nothing. Yeah, like he's went between like 3 Bundesliga clubs. He's also now at Sevilla. I don't know if Sevilla bought him or got him for nothing, but he's always. Somebody's in the chat saying he's underrated. Maybe let's see how he does in Spain. But see, when he was in Germany, he was stinking. And so I don't know. When I see that Suso, Lamela, Luca Bacchio, I just think, oh Jesus, like Sevilla went downhill.
Yeah, 18, 20, 13, 12, 10.
Damn. It's mental.
You just can't stay anywhere.
Yeah. Watford here. Watford paid money for Man. I was thinking there was another team involved. I couldn't remember who it was, and then if you look at, I don't know if it's there, but if you look at his goals and stuff, I'll go and look at it somewhere. I did see one of the goals he scored in that game. It was a belter, by the way. Just as a side note, but
it must have been nice because everybody decided to just buy him during the game.
It was a scorcher.
That is
188 games in league football, 188 games, 41 goals. He's got an aggregate transfer fee there of what, 50 million, 40 million or something. It's like, I don't get it. So yeah, anyway.
That's fair. We have more, or let's see, Inter and Roma, who I do not believe I don't believe they were on the list today, right? Let me see. Of new Serie A clubs. So the new ones were Verona, Fiorentina, Lecce, Atalanta, Monza, Salernitana, and Bologna. I think that's everybody in the. Oh no, Torino, Udinese, Lazio. What order is this in? Sorry, Empoli, Sassuolo, AC Milan, and Napoli. So no new Inter cards, no new Roma cards. But we still have plenty on the platform. So, I like this. Poor clubs Doku.
Yeah, maybe.
So, as much as Andy wanted to talk about Everton and home against Luton, West Ham home against Sheffield United seems like a pretty good one.
It does. Again, I was actually looking at that
next week.
I was looking at that earlier because I was doing a lineup builder with somebody for Paqueta. It looks like a pretty good game for him, certainly.
Yep.
And I think, West Ham are at that point of the season where they're starting to get some results put together. And I know obviously the result there on screen, losing at Liverpool, isn't great, but like we mentioned before, they love their midweeks, they love their European runs, but they need to do well in the league. And at home to Sheffield will definitely be a game that they've targeted getting 3 points, So, yeah, it could be a good one for West Ham. Could see it being a good result. And like Ward-Prowse, again, is the kind of standout in that team because, he's taking every set piece.
Yeah.
And even in open play, he's the playmaker, So as long as they're doing stuff, he'll be involved, no two ways about it.
Yep. They've got away to Freiburg next week, which I think after last week, we kind of see how they're mostly going to rotate, although Ward-Prowse did not. But, man, look at those scores.
Yeah. Ever since the West Ham move, you can see it there. It's clear, eh?
Jeez.
Everything
for
them.
Better than I thought he would be there. Not going to lie.
Same. Same. So 10 points better.
Right.
I thought it'd be like maybe on the L15, L5, maybe 4 to 6 points better than Southampton. But like L580 is just sick.
I didn't even think he would be better. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, really?
I thought maybe he would share a few more set pieces. The decisives would go down, but literally just the opposite.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they've got the midweek as well, and then they have Newcastle the following weekend, which is a pretty big one. Arsenal.
That'll be fun. Both teams in that game will be off the back of European football as well, so that'll be kind of fun when they do meet.
Germ says WordPress has some aerial beasts to aim for on corners, which is a great point. And really, this is when they should bring back Andy Carroll.
Andy Carroll has 3D cards. Andy Carroll has 3D cards, Laird.
Get out.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you who he plays for. He's got 3D cards that came out today, I think.
I honestly had no idea he was still a professional football player.
Go and pull that up. Go. 3D Carroll. It's a pure meme card as well. I'd be tempted to get one just for banter. Newcastle fans will be glowing in love for it.
I had no idea.
D Carroll.
I love it.
Andy Black's got to get one of them, hasn't he?
I had no idea he was that young.
Feels like he should be older, eh? Like 37 or something.
Absolutely. No, I'm not even kidding. I think he absolutely should. And I'm just going to pretend that that the Puma logo is actually just a giraffe. I almost want to like take it. Oh, actually, maybe I'll do that here to make it look a little taller. Can I like spin it this way? Oh, can't quite get there. Oh, well.
Sorry, I was chucking up on a wire at my feet.
Matt said he thought he was 45, which I think, anyway. Leverkusen away to Mainz. That could get ugly.
It could, yeah, for sure.
Surely they have. Oops.
So the thing with the German teams, you kind of need to watch out for a lot of these teams is they have had cup games this midweek. Some of them happened already. Bayern Munich, I don't know if you've seen this, but Bayern Munich played Mazraoui and Goretzka at centre-back and played Leimer right-back and played Alphonso Davies left-back. And then they basically had zero defenders. They just went for it. And they beat some third division team like 4-0. And yeah, so check out on the cup games midweek with some of these Champ Euro guys as well. Did your guy get minutes? Did they get rotated? Did he play 90? Did he sit all together? I don't see Leverkusen having one actually, so I think they're missing a midweek. That's great for them. So they're not playing cup football this midweek, so they just roll straight into the weekend. So very good for Leverkusen, I think. Yeah,
Bayern against some type of cheese.
Look at that team.
Jeez. Oh, and of course, Tell scores again.
Yeah.
How many minutes did he end up playing? We played all 90.
Just absolutely went for it, eh? No defenders today, boys.
That's. Do you think the Munster guys came out and they looked at it and they were just like, "Oh shit,
fucking Bayern"?
Yeah,
probably, man. I know that would be.
Yeah, like you would have expected these guys to start. Oh, Guerrero.
Yeah, he's back.
Yeah, they thought Munster came out thinking they were playing Max Schmidt and Luka Denk, and then all of a sudden, Kimmich and Musiala walk out. And they're like,
the full attack, and all their midfield.
Anyway, let's see. Milan, Lazio, Real Madrid, excuse me, against Girona. There's another one that they have like matches today.
Very biased. Yeah, there is La Liga tonight, and maybe a wee bit tomorrow. Very, very biased. But I think Girona are going to win that game. I think Girona beat Real Madrid because, number one, I'm very biased. And number two, because Girona are playing this midweek, right? But that's the first midweek they've played. They're not in Europe or anything. They're on good form. They're third, right? They're at home in this fixture. And the best thing about Girona, in terms of their play and all that stuff, is their attacking wide players. You see their Saganikov, Savio, and then the fullbacks that they play, it's not on that team there, but normally it's Gutierrez and Arnau Martinez. Anyway, if you look at the Real Madrid team, the weakest part of that is clearly right back and left back. So if they're at home and they're doubling up right back and right winger, left back and left winger, they're going to get a few chances. Real Madrid are thinking of, they've got Champions League as well. It's a big 6-pointer. They lost the derby as well, as you can see there. I don't know. I think, this is a game where Girona can get 3 points and, go fucking mental, to be honest with you. Sorry about the language.
Wasn't this Tati Castellanos' like hat trick? 4 goals?
Oh yeah, last time they played last season, it was like some crazy score between the two of them. There, 4-2 at home as well. Yeah, so at
Tati had
Girona,
all 4. Excuse me. Yeah.
and look at the wide players all assisting.
I love that, Quinny.
So we'll see.
I love it.
Vamos Girona.
Okay, we've got Bayern away to Leipzig. That's a tough one midweek, or excuse me, weekend with midweeks and all that. And then, yeah,
Liverpool Tottenham as well. That'll be really tough.
Which one?
Liverpool Tottenham as well. That's a good one for us if you don't have Liverpool cards, because you know they're not going to come out of that with SO5 points. You know, they might win the game, but it's not going to be good like for SO5. That one
for sure. Monaco, Marseille. Where did I skip? Where? Oh, here they are. Rennes against Nantes. If anybody has Rennes cards, they might get excited for this weekend. Who knows?
That's Laird versus HG there. That game.
So it's not even me. I can't. There are other Erwan, who is SRR1 on Sorare. Erwan also works for SorareData. He is the true Rennes supporter. I actually talked to him before I started this idea of the Rennes collection, and he was like, "That sounds fun." Which was not like, that's a good idea. It was just like, that sounds fun. And I was like, oh, shit. But anyway, yes, big SorareData derby this weekend. And then let's see, who does Guarassi have to destroy this week? Cologne?
Decent. You're probably scoring that game.
Yeah, just going to keep going. The guy is absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, Cologne are third bottom. Conceded 9 goals in 5 games. That's I think he'll score.
I think he will score at least 1 goal in every game for the rest of his life. How about that?
As things stand, that's the way projections would let it go. You know, that's the way he's going. Yeah, so he's Haaland. That's it, man. We've got a new Haaland. Oh, Jesus, man, look at it.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
Jesus. Fair play to him, man. He'll get another one this weekend. Dux against Darmstadt will be fun. Yeah, I can see that too. Dux is quite good. Gets good AA as well. I've not paid attention to Werder Bremen since this season much, but I was interested to see how he would do now that Füllkrug had went to Dortmund. But you know, looking at that L5, doesn't look like he's missed a step. So I hate to
say it this way, and I forget who it was, but I saw him in somebody's lineup that I think is good, like an SO5 manager that I was like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing. He had him, and I was like, he probably knows more than I do. And yeah, I looked up and the scores are definitely reasonable. And yeah, Darmstadt away, give them tons of fantasy points to forwards. Yeah.
That's a good one.
Villa Brighton, Atalanta Juve. These are all just the ones that end up being pretty close. Is it a Nottingham Forest week? Home against Brentford? Probably not.
Nah,
I don't know.
I don't know. None of these games are anything really, are they? They're all just they're matches. Hoffenheim Dortmund, that's going to be like 5 each or something. That's one of those games. You know, like that's a crazy one probably. Maybe Leipzig Bayern could be crazy. Sometimes those matches are. Sometimes they're boring as hell. It just depends.
Yeah,
but
it really does seem like it's if 4-3 or 0-0, and you're just like, I wish I had that 90 minutes back.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's jump over to the big scores.
Füllkrug's on all sets apparently.
What's that?
Dux is on all sets apparently. So that's a good turn of events for sure.
For anyone who doesn't know, you can check that out by going to their player page, clicking on the team here. I usually do L5 because I prefer just the most recent. And then if you scroll to the bottom, we have corner takers.
Nice.
There he is. All over the place on your set pieces.
Yeah, love that, man.
I do love a good set piece taken forward. That is silly, though. Anyway, actually, let's just see where he shows up here on the... we've got a double A for him this week.
Tasty. It's because he's 59, isn't it? Is that part of it? No,
no, that's All-Star Limited. So yeah, that's not part of it. Yeah. But
that's good.
But it's good, yeah. There's some a lot of good Marvins this week.
Is that the new filter we need? Yeah. Filter by Marvin.
What's my new stack? I've got a Marvin stack. But anyway, I would say that So of the guys we've discussed, it feels like all of the ones in the top, I would say 4, but it's really just 3, are all like, we were like, AZ could rotate. West Ham, I mean, WordPress playing everything, but we're just talking about the congested fixtures. Mbappe, Genesis thought could sit this week. Luke de Jong, I don't think will ever sit, but 94% chance to win for PSV this week is just, man. Carlos Hill is the top. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Quinones is the top America play. Carlos Hill, second top midfielder. Look at that. James Tarkowski, as Andy was talking about all the Everton stacks. Tarkowski comes in with a AAA. And then there's a card that I'm trying to get, so I'm going to try to just quickly scroll through so nobody knows he's that good this week.
So I see Grimaldo as a AAA up there, but I don't see Frimpong as a AAA up there, which poses a question, I think, doesn't it? Who will score more, Grimaldo or Frimpong? Oh, was he rated a B? Is that or an A? B? Ooh.
I think that the way this matchup comes up, so Mainz give up very few fantasy points to right backs, or is that where he's playing?
Yeah.
Right wing back, basically. So that's why his is poor, and they must give up just a ton of points to the left side where Grimaldo plays. Yep.
Oh, yeah. So maybe they've got a really bad right back. That's interesting how it does that. I thought it was just a wee bit more on defence because it's so rare, but I didn't realise it was left and right as detailed as that for fullbacks.
Yeah, it looks like they're a sieve on the left side and not on the right, or on their right side, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
These guys just don't like to defend.
Interesting. The Grimaldo Frimpong battle this week will commence. Yeah. We'll see who should have been AAA. And lots of good players there. Assignon as well. Ren right back. Loving life. AAA. Sorry, you've mentioned them already. There's Bruno, your man. He's AAA as well.
Which one?
Bruno.
Oh yeah. I'm excited to play Bruno this week against Crystal Palace for sure. Barbe here. Bordeaux always seem to have a good one. Yeah, against Grenoble, they'll probably. There's Guarassi here with his AAA. Nice. I mean, that's exactly the chart that you want to see right there. Just everything exploded out. Boniface. Yeah, I don't think there are any surprises here at all. It's just a lot of AAAs. Jeez.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned this guy on a limited time only yesterday. Shriver's forward card has been excellent.
Oh yeah.
And who do they have this week? Liège, home against Liège.
Yeah, it's okay. It's good enough.
Let's run through at least capped quickly. Cap 240, everybody's favorite competition. There we go. Oh, we have a Fortaleza goalie coming in. This is do your own research in an image right here.
Yeah. Predicted lineups.
Who usually starts for them? Is it Ricardo? Yeah. I actually think so. SR Monkey actually might have been asking about this. So I think Ricardo missed the last game because of a yellow card. Oh, no, he got it. Oh, no, because this is a Sudamericana. So this yellow card, I think, means he's suspended this game week.
Ooh. Interesting. Right. So what team is that? Fortaleza?
Oh, yeah. So people are, Matt and Sorare Malta. So João Ricardo is suspended. So Fernando Miguel should start. He has an L15 of 0.
Beautiful.
Making him the best pick score play this week. Oh, my gosh. And here's that. I need to remember to take out the Ren guys when we go through this. So that nobody...
Get that new filter installed. But Gossens looks good. Assignon. Some good ones up there. Sabiri.
There's that that we were talking about before.
Oh, yeah. Because with 240, you need a couple of guys that are in that kind of high 40, low 50 kind of range. Because it's 280 points, as everyone knows. We've got XP and captains. That's obviously not news, right? But Like I had this experience with catching thresholds this week because it gave me a lot of deja vu to when it was an All-Star. And like the kind of rule of thumb was, I think it was just 5 starters, 2 decisives. It was the kind of thing you would just used to build the team against, and it would look after itself after that. And I think that's maybe a wee bit lost in the 240 vibe, because it is hard to really try and budget 2 decisives into a 240 cap. So you also kind of need to be a wee bit more creative with how you get that score. But when I see good guys like that, AAA rated, that are like high 40s, low 50s, I think they are great guys for cap mode. Good to see there's a lot of them.
Yeah, totally agree. I will also point out for anybody who doesn't use this page enough, if you are building a cap lineup and you need, 40, 46, 45 points, let's call it, you can scroll this filter here and it'll show you just guys who have 45 or below, and you can get Miguel or Robin Gosens here.
That'd be good. I like that film. I didn't know that was there. Dragowski as well, goalkeeper for AAA rated pick. Cost of 33 points. That's not bad. I like Dragowski. I like Polish goalkeepers. And you were mentioning Teton the other day, and I thought I might go buy a Teton if he's that cheap. I used to have one as well.
I bought that card. Like, I snap bought it when they announced. It might have been when they announced 240, because he was really cheap, and I was like, oh, I'll just get like a 0 goalie, and then I'll play 4 outfield players, and I'll just print money. It didn't work. But
yeah,
it wasn't until after I bought it. I think I got it from Pavel. And it wasn't until after I bought it that I realized his L15 was like 65, because he had one start over his last 15. And it was like his 9th game. Like, he hadn't started in forever, but it wasn't far enough. So then instead of buying a L15 of 0 goalie, I bought an L15 of 68. And I was like, well, this is completely unusable now as a 68 who will not play. And so.
I've had that a few times as well. I've had I was going to mention it earlier, but I think I mentioned it before we were talking to you, but I had a guy return from Saudi Arabia this transfer window to River Plate, Pity Martinez, and he made his long-awaited return to the field midweek, come off the bench and got like 15 AA or something like that. So I was quite...
Did you really?
Yeah, he got like 40 points off the bench or something like that. So... but he straight away, I was really happy with him. So I was like, oh, good. When I know he's playing, he'll be a DNP L15-0. But he's played this midweek now, and now his L15's 40 or something. So it's still good, but I've not got the 0 out of him that I was kind of hoping I might have caught.
He had 21 AA in 20 minutes. Jeez.
Yeah. Decent, eh?
Did he get
pity time?
Wonder if he took some corners. Just one.
I just seen this morning. I've not dug into it.
You might have walked into a great one there, or he might have walked back into your gallery, and not this week though. Not against away to Boca. That's not going to be the great one. My apologies, because I actually have to go. But Quinny, do you have anything else that on this game week that you think anybody needs to know?
No, I think that was a great wee preview show. I feel like I'm better informed now for going out and doing some drafts and getting ready as we tick closer to the game week. And like you say, like, we still need to see some matches that'll happen through the midweek. And it's all about just making sure, like, you kind of go through these stages through the game week of making little decisions and crossing things out. Like, no, I'm not going to play that, and oh no, that's my best goalkeeper. And I'm feeling all the better for it, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Hopefully it helped people know which games they should be looking at this midweek, to know that whether to play these guys on the weekend, or because they also have matches in the next midweek and the weekend after that. And then we have an international break. I think it might be it, or maybe there's another week in between there, but we just keep rolling. And so, hopefully we were able to show you guys all the things that you should be looking at over the next 2 days, because the deadline is in 47 hours and 54 minutes. We have our deadline for game week 411. Thank you to everybody for joining. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to this guy over here. And good luck to everyone this midweek, and good luck this weekend.